Welcome back to Weekend Words, your ultimate English chat hub. I'm Maya, and as always, I'm thrilled to be here with my co-host, Alex.
And I'm Alex. It's fantastic to be back, Maya. We have a really practical and super useful topic for all our listeners today, especially those of you who are just starting out on your English learning journey at the A1 level.
Absolutely, Alex. Today, we're diving into one of the most common and fundamental conversations you'll ever have in English, talking about your weekend. It sounds simple, right? But it's packed with opportunities to practice essential grammar and vocabulary.
It really is. And you know, Maya, it's not just for practice. Asking about someone's weekend or sharing what you did is a huge part of everyday social interaction in English-speaking countries. It's how people connect after a couple of days off. So mastering this topic means you're already building bridges.
Exactly. So to kick things off and give everyone an example, Alex, let's start with us. Tell me, what did you do this past weekend?
Oh, that's a great question, Maya. This past weekend was quite relaxing, I must say. On Saturday, I went to the local farmer's market in the morning. I bought some fresh vegetables and fruits. Then, in the afternoon, I watched a new documentary on TV. It was about ancient history. Very interesting.
That sounds lovely and productive. Bought and watched are excellent examples of those past simple verbs we'll be talking about. What about Sunday?
On Sunday, I stayed home. I read a book for most of the day, and then I cooked a big dinner for my family. We had roast chicken and potatoes. It was delicious. So, overall, a very nice, calm weekend.
That sounds absolutely wonderful, Alex. And you just used stayed, read, and cooked. Perfect past simple verbs. Now it's my turn. My weekend was a little different. On Saturday, I visited my sister. We went for a long walk in the park near her house. The weather was beautiful. We talked a lot and enjoyed the sunshine.
Oh, that sounds so refreshing, Maya. Visited and went. More great examples for our A1 listeners.
It really was. Then on Sunday, I stayed home. I cleaned my apartment in the morning, which wasn't very exciting, but it felt good to have it done. And in the afternoon, I painted. I have a new hobby, painting with watercolors, and I spent a few hours just playing with colors. It was very relaxing.
Wow, cleaned and painted. See, listeners, Maya and I just had a complete conversation about our weekends, using relatively simple vocabulary and, crucially, the past simple tense. This is exactly what we want you to be able to do.
Exactly. So why is this particular conversation so great for A1 English practice, Alex?
Well, for several reasons, Maya. Firstly, it forces you to use the past simple tense. Most activities you do on a weekend are finished actions. So you'll be saying, I went, I saw, I ate, I relaxed. This is a core grammatical structure at the A1 level, and this topic gives you perfect repetitive practice.
Right. And secondly, the vocabulary is usually very common and everyday. We're talking about things like go to the park, watch TV, read a book, cook dinner, visit friends. These are words you're likely already learning. So it's a fantastic way to activate them in real conversation.
Absolutely. It's not about discussing complex theories. It's about practical, relatable actions. Thirdly, it's a natural conversation starter. When you meet someone on Monday morning, "How was your weekend?" is a very common question. Knowing how to answer helps you participate in social situations and feel more confident.
So let's break down some of those key questions and phrases, shall we? To ask someone about their weekend, you can simply say, "What did you do this weekend?" or "How was your weekend?" A slightly more informal option is, "Did you do anything fun?"
And when you want to answer, keep it simple. Start with "I went to" for places, like "I went to the cinema" or "I went to the gym." If you stayed home, you can say "I stayed home and," followed by an activity, like "I stayed home and watched movies."
Other useful phrases include, "I visited my family," "I met some friends," or "I read a good book." And don't forget adjectives to describe your weekend. It was relaxing, it was busy, it was quiet, or it was fun.
Let's quickly go over some common verbs and their past simple forms that are perfect for this topic. Listeners, you can repeat these after us. Go becomes went. See becomes saw. Eat becomes ate. Read stays read but sounds different. It's like the color red. Watch becomes watched. Cook becomes cooked. Visit becomes visited. And stay becomes stayed.
Fantastic list, Alex. Now, for our A1 listeners, here are some really important tips. First, don't try to say too much. 1 or 2 simple sentences are perfectly fine. It's better to say a little bit correctly than a lot with many mistakes.
Yes, absolutely. Second tip, use words you already know. Don't worry about trying to use new, complicated vocabulary. Stick to the basics. The goal here is to communicate effectively at your current level.
Third, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, especially when learning a new language. The most important thing is to practice and try to communicate. Mistakes are just learning opportunities.
And my fourth tip, which is crucial for any conversation, listen carefully to the other person's answer. If someone says, "I went to the beach," you can ask a simple follow-up question like, "Oh, really? Was it sunny? Or did you swim?" This shows you're engaged and helps extend the conversation, even with simple English.
That's a brilliant point about active listening, Alex. It's not just about what you say, but also how you interact. So let's do a quick practice scenario. Imagine an English-speaking friend asks you, "What did you do this weekend?" And you just stayed home and watched a lot of TV. What would you say?
I'd say, "I stayed home. I watched a lot of TV. It was very relaxing." Simple, clear, and uses the past simple.
Perfect. Or what if you went to a new cafe with a friend? You could say, "I went to a new cafe with a friend. We drank coffee. It was good."
See how easy that is? Listeners, you don't need a long, complex story. Just a few key pieces of information. Now, for your challenge this week. The next time you have the opportunity, try to ask someone, "How was your weekend?" And be prepared to share 1 or 2 simple sentences about yours.
Yes, embrace the practice. Even if it's just practicing in front of a mirror or writing down your weekend activities in English, every little bit helps build confidence and reinforce these essential language skills.
So, to quickly recap everything we've talked about today, Maya.
Talking about your weekend is a super important conversation for A1 English learners because it's so common in everyday life. It's a natural way to connect and get to know people.
And it's absolutely perfect for practicing the past simple tense. All those went, saw, ate verbs. And using practical, everyday vocabulary for activities.
Remember to keep your answers simple and use the words you already know. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Just focus on communicating your message clearly.
And always try to listen to the other person so you can ask a simple follow-up question, which helps the conversation flow and makes you a better English speaker.
Exactly. So go out there, practice talking about your weekend, and you'll see your A1 English skills really start to shine.
That's all the time we have for today on Weekend Words. Thank you so much for tuning in.
We hope this episode helps you feel more confident about discussing your weekends in English. Until next time, keep practicing.